Hello, I'm Ian Gascoigne, and I'm presenting a webinar for MBL entitled Applications to Set Aside Judgments in Default, an update for claimants and defendants. So this is a relatively self-contained topic, and it's one no dispute resolution lawyer wants to end up in. Of course, if you are presented with a default judgment against your client because you haven't previously been involved, you've no choice in the matter, and you have to do the best you can in those circumstances. So the topics I'll be covering are defendants' applications to set aside a judgment and considering the Denton factors in the analysis of that. I'll also consider some applications claimants may have to make in these circumstances, even though they've got a default judgment, to protect their position. I'll particularly focus on the two elements of the CPR 13.3 test, which are promptness and the merits test. I will look at certain situations where judgments may be set aside only in part, or where the judgment may be varied, because that's the appropriate thing to do when the court considers the overall position. I'll also look at applications to set aside an irregularly entered judgment. That's a separate rule in CPR 13.2. And I'll finally consider what impact fraud allegations may have if a defendant comes along to the court and said, please set aside my default judgment against me because it's been procured in relation to a claim where the claimant is making a fraudulent claim, and therefore that should be an additional reason why you should set it aside. Before we come on to those considerations, let me just identify situations where default judgments occur. I think there are three categories. There's the don't know category, which is where the defendant, although served with the claim and the accompanying parts of the claim, particulars of claim, response pack, etc., although served with those papers, the defendant doesn't know they've been served. This could either be because they're away or because they're sent to the wrong person in the organization which the defendant is, or because they're sent to the wrong address. So the first category is where the defendant simply doesn't know that a claim has been issued and has been served and that they have to respond to it.